If you want some, come get some.
This is such good shit.
I am the visionary. I am a revolutionary. I am Seth.
Give it crying. I can't give the stuff to Dusty, but I can give it to my mama. I can give it to my mommy.
Acknowledge me.
Lately, he just hasn't been very oozy.
It is a family show, Ryan, and welcome everybody to Rasslin with Ryan. We are late on this episode, but guys, we're here. And guess what? It's the final Rasslin with Ryan of 2024. Can you guys believe it? Can you believe it, Ryan?
I can't believe it. It went by so fast. And what's today, Mike? I heard there's a special date. I heard there's a special date today.
Let's see. Elvis's birthday. No?
No.
Let's see. It's my dog? Is it my dog's birthday?
No.
Oh, I know whose birthday it is. I'm gonna put a little birthday cake right here. You'll see the little birthday cake and put a little party hat on you.
Yes, sir.
Ryan's birthday. Happy birthday,
Yes, sir.
to the goat.
Yeah. My birthday today. I'm 24.
I was
24.
28. No.
I'm 24, so
24 years old. How does it feel to be 24 years old?
special birthday edition of Rasslin we're on today.
Special birthday edition. I can remember many years ago when I turned 24.
Yeah, because Mike's a 50-year-old man right now, so
Exactly. 24, you know what it is? It's your
Kobe
year. I don't know if you guys can see this.
Kobe.
Wait, how come it's not showing? What the heck?
It was a little
Dang.
because of your background, that's why.
Yeah. It's blocked in. But this is my gift that Ryan gave me for Christmas. Can't
Yes,
really
sir.
because of my background. My silly background. Should I change it or no?
I mean, if you're not going to be showing anything else, I think it's fine.
There we go.
Oh yeah, because I know when you have a background, it interferes with the when you show something on camera.
But it's your
It's a little blur. It's a little blurry, but
It's okay. It's your Kobe year.
yes, sir.
It's a little blurry. So
Yep.
they still show this. Never mind.
All right, so here is our topic for tonight. We are going over our top 5 matches of the WWE year, as well as just recapping the whole year. Some of our favorite moments and all that from 2024. So let's get into it.
Let's get it. So our top matches of 2024. Ryan, do you want to begin yours?
I will start first. Yes, so I'm gonna go from 5 to 1.
Okay.
So for my number 5, I have Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles at Backlash France, because one, that match was really great. It showed AJ Styles is still capable of being a main eventer, but also the crowd. The crowd was hot for this match. That's why I have it at my number 5, because of the crowd. The crowd was just into it the entire time. I have to say I think France was the best crowd of the WWE year.
I think arguably they were the best crowd of the whole entire year of everywhere.
They were singing Cody's song, and they were singing phenomenal.
Oh yeah, that was
whatever it was.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that was amazing.
You are phenomenal. Yeah, whatever it is they were singing, and then Cody Rhodes. Like the crowd was just like,
and just the atmosphere.
I feel like the crowd really helped that match shine too. Like, don't get me wrong, it was a great match. It was, but I feel like the crowd really helped. Really helped both men deliver.
Bruce Pritchard said on his podcast that they tried to do a Zoom call during the show, and they couldn't go through with the Zoom call because the crowd was so loud that backstage you couldn't hear themselves.
Yeah, I know. They even had what they call the little sound thing, like that. Decibels, whatever it is,
yeah.
and it was all the way over to it was in the red.
Yeah, unbelievable,
loud,
unbelievable atmosphere.
It was so loud the camera was shaking.
Yeah, and that's without Kevin Dunn doing the whole shaky cam, like how they used
Yeah,
to do back in the
that
day.
that like that tells you something. If the crowd is that hyped and that loud that they make the camera shake without it being an intentional thing, like man, that's crazy.
Exactly.
So that's my
Crazy.
number five.
Yeah, great number five there. Crowd was just tremendous. My number five is just from last month, the men's War Games match at Survivor Series. War Games. You had
War game.
Bloodline, War Games, Team Bloodline with CM Punk, Roman, Sammy Uso, Jimmy and Jay, and of course CM Punk
Yeet.
versus the new Bloodline, Solo Sikoa.
Whoa.
I was gonna call him Jimmy Fat too. Jacob Fat too.
Yeah.
Tamalonga, Tamatonga,
Ooh.
and Big Bronson Reed.
Who broke his ankle in that match?
It's
So
an incredible match. I
we
think
wish him a speedy recovery.
exactly. I think it was just one of those pay-per-views that it was just really just all focused on one main event, and that was the men's War Games match, and they
Yeah.
were all out in that match.
And it really picked up and like let's talk about the moment of when Roman blocked CM Punk.
Oh God, yeah,
That became WWE's most social video of like the entire year.
exactly.
Just
So
to think,
many,
a simple interaction like that, no wrestling involved, being
yeah,
the most socially active post
exactly.
of the entire year.
Just so many elements in that match you could pull from, just so many stories that were being told in that match. They told more stories in that match than AEW did in the whole
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, and that it was long term storytelling at finest because you have the history of CM Punk with Paul Heyman, you have
Yep.
CM Punk's history with Roman and the Shield. You know, Punk also has history with the Usos.
So many elements being played, and it sets the stage for wrestling going forward. And so you take what that match represented. It was a great match. You had storylines coming out of your ass, and it was great. That's why it's my number
Yeah.
five.
And this match has also helped lead you to a match earlier than we had thought. We didn't think we'd get it, but it makes sense on the Raw debut on Netflix. It's going to be Roman Reigns, the OTC, versus the new Tribal Chief Solo Sikoa for the Oofalafa.
For the Oofalafa,
Yeah,
just like LA Knight called it, the
the
Oofalafa.
Oofalafa. I don't care if you call it. I don't care if it's the Oolafala, the Oofalafa, the Oompa
Exactly.
Like it don't mean
Nothing to
nothing to
me.
me. Yeah. So on January 6th on Raw's debut on Netflix,
Exactly. All right.
Roman versus
Roman versus
so
Solo. Yep. For the Oofalafa. So what is your
yep.
number four?
My number four, I have Bailey versus Io Sky at WrestleMania 40. And the reason I have this match is you've heard me say it before on the show. I think Io Sky is the best in ring performer on the women's side right now. And Bailey, Bailey's always been good, but I feel like Bailey's been really stepping up her game lately. And their match they had at WrestleMania, like I thought it delivered. It exceeded my expectations.
Mhm.
Like it was like your traditional classic like wrestling match, and the crowd is definitely like really invested in it, really interested in it. So
Mhm.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was one of the better matches on the card.
Definitely. Those two, women, they had a storyline that went on for months and months and months. And so it finally paid off at WrestleMania. And Bailey got the spot and they capitalized on that big moment.
Yeah, and it was one of those like rare times where like the fans were actually behind like the baby face
Hmm.
because usually in matches like these it's like the heel is the one that's over with the crowd.
Right.
This was like one of those rare cases where no, like no, the crowd was all in on Bailey. Like, well, I mean it makes sense too because this was Bailey's first like big match as a baby face in years.
Yeah.
He's been a heel since 2019.
Right. Yeah, and so it was awesome to see Bailey back as a babyface. Not quite the same character as she was back then. Back then she was the hugger, and she was like
Yeah.
kind of like the white meat babyface of what you would call Cody Rhodes. Not so much this time. She's more of authentic character of herself.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
she seems to be in a more natural role
Mm.
now, and like and the crowd really seems to be into it. So yeah, so that was my number four. I thought that was just an amazing match. You could argue it's probably the best women's match of the year.
Exactly. Well, nice. All right. So
Your number four.
my number four is the last monster standing match between Big Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman. Look, let's just get this out of the way. Those two guys, they had no reason to have such a great match and great feud as they did. If this was Vince McMahon booking,
Yeah,
it would have been a squash. Braun Strowman would have been squashed by Big Bronson Reed, and we wouldn't have gotten the program that we did out of this, like we did under Triple H. And Triple H did an
yeah,
amazing job at putting these things together. And it was honestly the highlights of Monday Night Raw for a few weeks, seeing Big Bronson
yeah.
Reed. What's he gonna do next?
Yeah. And
Starting
like
with
I remember I went crazy over the spot where Bronson Reed delivered the tsunami on top of the car.
yeah, hmm
That was crazy. But like, yeah,
crazy.
no, I have that in my list too. We'll get there in a little bit. But yeah, no, that match was just
hmm
that match was a banger, especially with it being two big men and then being able to put on a match like that is like it's very rare for big men like that, to put on a classic match like that.
Exactly. And so, yeah, just kudos to those two big men to have the cohesion and the style in the ring to put together something great. And both of those guys complimented each other. It's kind of rare when you see two big men put on a great match together.
Yeah. Yeah, and you could argue since Braun Strowman's been brought back to the company, you could argue that this is probably the best like in ring run of his WWE career.
Probably, well, the first run he had after breaking loose from the Wyatt family, he was pretty dominant.
Yeah,
But this is probably his
but I'm
second
talking from
to
an
that.
in ring perspective, like his match
Yeah,
performance, match
exactly.
quality,
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
like another match, like even like when we were at WrestleMania 39 when they were part of that tag team gauntlet. Man, that match was crazy.
I forgot about that match. I think he was
Yeah,
partnering with Ricochet, but
yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
But anyways, all right, on
Your
to
number
my
three.
number 30.
Your number three.
My number 3, and I know people might argue say like this should be higher, and I can make a case for it too, but I have Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, WrestleMania 40 Night 2. These two just never seem to disappoint. They have amazing chemistry. It was a 2-year build to the story. The whole thing going into this is would Cody finally finish the story? Like, is Cody finally gonna get over the hump? And man, these two men put on a classic. I got to give props to both Cody Rhodes and Roman. They really delivered, and they definitely had the crowd into it. And I would
Hmm?
say the last like 10-ish minutes was like a
Yep.
wrestling fan's like dream come true.
Yep.
It was the most overbooked finish ever, but it was amazing.
I don't know. Some of those old WCW main events, and then they were really overbooked. But this is also my number three. You talk about a 2-year program with Cody Rhodes losing in Hollywood when Cody lost in Hollywood and not Hollywood, but the LA WrestleMania 39. It was like wow, like I really thought at that point he should have won.
You could hear a pin drop
The
after
whole crowd just
because
went,
we were there.
yeah,
We
and I
were
was just
there.
like stunned, like my God.
Everybody was just like that killed the night.
They did, and I was like, you know what, man, WrestleMania is all about moments, and they didn't let Cody have that moment, and it was really disappointing. But this is WWE. You gotta let the storyline play out. And we almost didn't get it because The Rock wanted to finally come back and take Cody's
Take
spot.
another main event spot.
And luckily, the right thing prevailed. The Rock was involved as
Yeah.
much as he could, and we
And
got
thankfully
Hollywood Rock out of this
yeah,
program.
and we had the We Want Cody movement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And we not Hollywood Rock. We got Final Boss Rock
Yeah,
out of this.
and to think the whole thing, like you could argue that probably part of it was a work, but from the sounds of it, it really sounded like they really did have to shift plans because the fans just like absolutely loathed the idea of The Rock versus Roman.
Exactly. And so people were behind Cody 100% of the way, whether you like him as a babyface or you don't like him, the fans are still behind him. And they pushed for the right thing, and we ended up getting the right main event for that night. And Cody, he made, history. It's probably one of the most tear-jerking moments just watching him win that title with Samantha Vervin's voice crackling.
He's trying, yeah.
You
And
know,
then,
hearing
yeah,
that, Michael Cole saying, "We would say, God damn,
damn it, I love
I
professional
love,
wrestling.
yeah,
And that was new because that's something that would never be said when Vince McMahon was in charge.
exactly." You seeing Cena in the ring, the Undertaker was there.
That was the biggest shock.
It's almost
I
like
know
Cena.
you were expecting Stone Cold.
Yeah,
Everybody was
I was.
expecting
Everybody
Stone
else
Cold.
was, but it
But
was
when we heard
Cena
the
in the
gong, we
ring.
were like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, but seeing Cena in the ring, it's almost like he was passing the torch to Cody. That's the way I took it. You may see it differently because he's still your goat.
Still my goat.
And we might get
Still
that
my
match later, but
goat.
we'll talk about that
Yes.
later.
Yes. But anyway,
But
all right, all right. To my number two.
mhm,
My number two is your number four. Braun Strowman versus Bronson Reed in the last monster standing match. Again, I got to give props to both guys, for them being big men and being able to go out and deliver like they did.
mhm,
Especially Braun Strowman, like that. Like I said, I feel like in terms of his match quality, he's like really stepped it up in terms of like his match quality.
right,
I got to give props to Bronson Reed too. It's like for both men are like super athletic for their sizes. Like it's incredible to see, and even the crowd was into it, and it was the right main event of that Raw. You
absolutely,
know,
yeah,
like and then I also like that it ended their feud, and then it continued the feud between Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins.
exactly.
So
Which that feud would have
I
been,
like that it was able to to mesh two stories into one.
oh yeah, because the whole thing was uh Big Bronson Reed not getting the respect from Adam Pierce, and so he had to take matters into his own hands. And what does he do? He gives Seth freaking Rollins 6 tsunamis. That was like one of the highlights of Raw.
And even Bronson Reed himself said in an interview it wasn't supposed to be six. He said it was only supposed to be like three.
Yeah, but it just kept going. The crowd kept anticipating
I
it.
know the crowd was into it. They were loving it. In that moment, that was a star making moment.
It was. It was.
Like that is how you make a star.
And just Pat McAfee going crazy. Soname. Amazing. One of the best moments of 2024, period.
Yes, sir.
So
All right. Your number
I don't
dos.
know how you don't have this match on your list, but is Gunther versus Randy Orton at Bash in Berlin.
And that match dragged for me. That's why it's not in my top five. That match dragged too long for me.
Look, those two had a banger at the King of Queen in the Ring. Just a banger of a matchup, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
but he won with the sleeper at Bash in Berlin. I didn't
These
like
are
that.
just two pure professional wrestlers having a awesome, awesome wrestling match, and it was just one of those throwback matches that you don't really find in this generation. So Orton versus Gunther, they ran it back at Bash in Berlin, and they did not disappoint. Randy Orton looked great in that match. Really pulled together one of the best matches he's had in the last few years of his career. And so take that, Gunther, defending champion, really stepped it up, elevated his game against Randy. And those two just have a lot of, cohesion in the ring, and those two can put on a great match. The only thing I wish that Randy Orton was this was like the Randy Orton of 10 years ago. Because if it was the Randy Orton of 10 years ago, oh my God, that would have been a banger. A banger among bangers.
Yeah. Yeah.
This Randy Orton, a little slowed down, little heavy, still a great professional wrestler. But if it was the Randy Orton of 10 years ago, oh my God, I think that probably would have been number one.
Yeah. All right. To my number one, which I think is also your number one.
Hmm.
So I think we can both say this is
Yep.
our number one WWE match of 2024: CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood.
Just let the fans. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this, you're a fan of WWE, so you know the story. But to carry on a almost a year's length feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, I don't know if anybody else in the company could really put together that kind of story that they did with
And
everything that they did. I mean, from the beads to Punk, Drew
Punk's
interfering in their
injury,
matches.
yeah, Punk's injury
Yep. Punk costing Drew the world title at WrestleMania. Uh,
and Money in the Bank.
and Money in the Bank. McIntyre hospitalizing Punk a couple times actually. it was just an amazing program between these two. It was really something that CM Punk needed coming off his injury, and it elevated. I feel like it elevated both men,
Oh,
is
oh yeah, for sure.
even though CM Punk is a bona fide Hall of Famer already. It really brought him back to the front of the stage of being a true main eventer in this company.
Yeah, and I think this feud and the match he's had with Drew proved he can still go at a main event level because you had people say,
Exactly.
"Oh no, he's washed, he's old." He
That's what I
doesn't.
meant. Yeah. It brought him back to being a main event player, because before this, I think people were doubting if he could still be a main event player. But coming out of this feud, how could you not see him as the one of the top guys in the company?
Yeah, no, the Hell in a Cell match was crazy. But there are some crazy spots in this.
Oh my God.
Punk hitting Drew
Yeah.
with the toolbox,
Yeah.
the table spot, that the spot on the steps that was gnarly, dude.
Riley. Yeah.
We,
Exactly.
that oh man, I'm surprised Drew McIntyre did not break his back.
I don't know how he didn't break his back either. That was just so many things that these guys pulled off during that match, and for them to relatively be healthy out of that match that's a testament to how much of a pros these guys are. Even though Drew McIntyre needed what 12 staples.
Yeah,
Ed?
but and then even the thing because you know how we Triple H has said he doesn't like the gimmick pay per views, how he like the Hell in a Cell is supposed to end a feud.
Yep.
That is how you properly end a feud.
Oh
And
yeah.
I will tell you this: I think you can agree. That was feud of the year, without
Feud
a
of the year.
doubt. That was feud of the year.
Exactly. And that match put the feud, just at that number one spot. And I mean, look, now you have a Drew McIntyre that's basically he's coming out of that. He's a changed character now. He wants to get what's his, and that's it. He's not going to put up with any other BS.
Yeah, and
CM
and
Punk,
and there are rumors that WWE has big plans for him, and they see him as a main event attraction in 2025. And honestly, he deserves it because Drew's been on like the best run of his career, and
exactly.
pretty
And
much
CM Punk is
since he's come back to the company. But I would argue since he's turned heel, I think this is the best character work we've seen out of Drew McIntyre.
exactly. Yeah, and CM Punk has just continued to be the top babyface or one of the top babyfaces in this company behind Cody and Roman Reigns, and they're doing
Yeah,
gangbusters business.
funny thing. I just watched it. I think I sent it to you on TikTok. CM Punk came out with a towel. Came out in a
Oh
towel
yeah, I saw
to
that.
help Damian Priest at the house show.
Yeah, the shower cap on too.
Yeah, shower cap. It's just like that is crazy.
I've never seen that before. Oh
I
man,
know I haven't either. So when I saw, it, I was just like, that's crazy. I was like, that's funny.
fuck yeah, it is. All right, so let's start talking about what is your top moments of WWE and pro wrestling in 2024, and where do you feel like
Definitely,
wrestling is right now?
I definitely think wrestling's the hottest it's ever been. They're on a hot streak. They've been on a roll lately. Like Raw and SmackDown have been really good as of late. I don't really watch NXT, but NXT has been really good as of late. And a lot of the pay per views were like really good. You had a couple that were like decent, but most of the PLEs this year were like really good.
Mhm.
Especially WrestleMania 40. I thought since we've had the 2 night format, I think this was the best 2 night WrestleMania we've had since they have adopted the 2 night format.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's hard to say because wrestling is not hot, but WWE is hot. You know, I think there's a distinction there. WWE is just on fire, and they've been on fire for a better part of the whole year, maybe more than that, maybe a year and a half, going on 2 years now. They've been on fire.
Pretty much since Triple H has taken over creative.
Yeah. I think wrestling is in a good spot. They're not, you still have AEW that's struggling to get fans in the business in the arenas. But altogether, WWE is just putting on classic shows right now. They're in such a great spot to be in. Anticipating the Raw debut on Netflix, all of the stuff that happened with Saturday Night's Main Event. I mean, my God, I mean it's a perfect time to be a WWE fan. Uh,
Yeah.
and just what we got out of this year, I think in general is just the best we've seen in years. Like I said, with the creation of the final boss character of The Rock coming back, I think that all worked out great. Coming out of it, Cody's been a great champion. He's been the John Cena-esque of this year. putting on carrying the company on his back. And it's really been without, Roman Reigns. It was without CM Punk for a lot of the year. So Cody really deserves so much credit for how businesses has been in this past year. I think he's been the MVP of the WWE this year, and really, like they say, the quarterback. So I think Cody Rhodes is definitely wrestler of the year. Who do you think is yours?
My wrestler of the year, it's a toss up for me. I could see it being Cody, but I gotta argue Drew McIntyre, man. Like he's just been like on a roll this year, and like just in terms of like all his feuds and all his matches and like his promos, like I got to give credit to Drew. I think Drew McIntyre is the MVP of 2024.
Definitely. I mean, look, you can see the body of work that he's put on this year, and you got to feel for the guy too. He had like a 2 month layoff where he was visiting
Yeah,
family, and somebody passed away.
yeah. And I have like a two part. I would say for the whole year is McIntyre, but I would say for like pretty much from like the Rumble to like WrestleMania,
Hmm.
you got to have my second favorite, Seth freaking Rollins. Like
Exactly.
especially at WrestleMania, that dude was definitely the MVP of WrestleMania, and I got to give him props. I got to give him credit. I know he had some time away, well deserved time away, but you got to give credit to Seth because he's always been a company guy. He's always willing to do what's best for the company, and he always just goes out there and delivers. So.
Yeah. No, definitely. Great year. Even though Seth Rollins was injured more like half the year, he still had a great year in the ring. You know, Look, we have a lot to look forward to in 2025. What are you looking forward to most for the WWE?
Well, I think I've told you that this is like the most hyped I've been for a Royal Rumble in like years. I'm definitely looking forward to the Rumble because this is like the first time where both Rumbles are actually pretty unpredictable.
Right, definitely. You have so many guys that can possibly win.
Yeah, yeah, and then of course I'm excited for WrestleMania because we'll be going
Hmm.
Vegas, baby. So we'll be going.
Oh yeah, baby.
So I know I'm excited for that. Excited to see my goat. Also sad
He's
to
coming
see
back,
that's
dude.
going to be his last year, but
He,
it'll be nice to see full time Cena again. We
hey,
get
look,
one last Super Cena run.
one last. It's definitely possible. I'm looking forward to seeing John Cena as well. I think this year's gonna be really special. I think
Does he bring back the buzz cut?
I hope he does. Old school Cena, even though
We
that's
we
gonna
saw
take it.
we saw him getting jacked, and he looks yoked right now too.
Look, if he can cover that bald spot or just make it look not as bald, then he should do it. But uh, I'm looking forward to seeing it back, as full time as possible in the company, mixing it up with the guys that we've never seen him mix it up with before.
And even some of the guys we have seen him mixed up before, we got to see run
Yep,
it back one more time.
exactly.
Like
I'm excited for a Drew McIntyre Cena match at some
yeah,
point.
I
Uh,
know I know at the top of my list, I got to see Punk and Cena run it back one more time.
I feel like him or Randy Orton should be his last opponent.
I still think it should be Randy, but I don't disagree with it also being Punk, but I definitely need to see Punk and Cena run it back one more time.
They should do
I
like
think we're definitely going to see Cena versus Cody at some point.
how they did Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H like at the Hell in a Cell
End
Wrestle
of an era.
end of
Yeah.
an era. They should do that for Cena's last end of an era. I think it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. And so I know, even though I don't like the guy, I know a lot of people want to see John Cena versus Logan Paul.
You're gonna
I'm
get that.
excited just so I can finally see John Cena put that bum out for good.
How about this triple threat match: Austin Theory versus Logan Paul versus John
Oh,
Cena.
God. That's like my worst nightmare, dude.
There's some rumors that they're saying Austin Theory could go to AEW.
I'd rather he be in AEW than on my television screen because that dude's a bum. So
Well, Brian, this is a great episode. Any last thoughts of wrestling in total? Anything you want to share?
I just think it's a solid year for WWE. I think this was arguably like the best year they've had since probably the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
in terms of like match quality, show quality, the crowd,
Exactly.
like just everything, like promos and like just I feel like everything was top
Look at
notch.
longer the days of the crap that we saw in 2019 on Monday Night Raw of Rusev versus Bobby Lashley and Lashley marrying Lana. Like, we're not getting that anymore,
And
baby. We're
and
getting
and, and then
quality stuff
Roman
now.
and then Roman Reigns being coated with dog food.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, this definitely I would say this is probably WWE's greatest year since the Attitude Era.
Big words to say, and you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong in that sense. Wow, what a year it was, and what a year it has been for Wrestling with Ryan. Ryan, our final one of 2024. I just want to say thank you for committing. And look it, guys. I want to thank everyone that's listening to this podcast right now, or anyone that's watching this podcast. I want to thank you for your time. And baby, we have only just begun. Okay, I will
Yeah.
tell you this much. Me, Ryan. All right, we're gonna. This thing is just getting started here, baby. We're gonna be blasted and loaded. Woo! like Ric Flair,
Yeah.
like Ric Flair in the bar, baby. In 2025, we're gonna be at 'em.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So just watch. Okay, wrestling with Ryan.
And stay tuned for WrestleMania because we're gonna have a lot of special WrestleMania content.
There's a lot of content coming, but I just want to thank you guys for listening to our podcast today. Really appreciate it. We have a lot coming in the upcoming
Yeah.
year. Um, and it's gonna be magical, baby.
It's just like Mike said. This is only the beginning. We're just getting started.
Exactly. A lot more content. Look
Yeah.
out for another Let's Go Lakers podcast coming out soon. Look out for more reels coming up. The NFL playoffs are coming up, and the Rams are going to be in it. The Lakers
Yep. Rams control
might
their own destiny right now.
exactly. Are the Lakers turning things around? We'll see. All right, Ducks, not Ducks, but Kings. All right,
Go. Just go.
we have a lot coming
Yeah.
to the platform. So just stay.
Stay tuned.
Yep,
And again, we thank you to all of you guys who have supported us. Like this wouldn't be possible without you guys. So we
exactly,
do this for you. Like yes, we're both passionate about this and we both love this, but you guys are the reason why we do this.
exactly. All right, and until then, see
You can see me next year.
ya.